think that's a good idea.
Hello, everybody. It is August 7th, and yesterday was August 6th.
2 days ago was August 5th.
And today I have the good old 65 London with me. For those of you who've been around with us for a little while today, we had a failure on the previous amp. So I'm going to bring the Empire back next week, and it will be working. I think we had some tube issues or something going on, but luckily I've got the nice big old London here. And my trusty Les Paul. So we're going to play a little EL84 love, and we've been making a lot of bad, inappropriate jokes. It's so funny because the Empire worked fantastic for like 40 minutes of us messing around, and then 2 minutes after I started recording, I think a tube problem. Something wasn't happy, and that amp hadn't been through our full tech process, and it happened. So here we are with the London. We're going to have fun with the London. I'll run through it really quick. I'll throw a lot of it back to you guys if you have some tech questions or some 65 questions or general amp and guitar stuff as well. How come the other amp isn't working? Yeah, that's right. But so this is a pair of EL84s. I'm on the color channel, which utilizes an EF86 tube, and it has a really nice smooth distortion. The other side is a 12AX7, but you can hear how nice the EF86 distortion is. Is the foot switch plugged in? I assume it is.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. And over here is the 12X7, which is going to have a little more typical nasally, mid-rangey sort of thing, with a tube-driven tremolo. Which I like to just kill it and go. Tube tremolo is great, isn't it? So you can slow it way down and get big intensity. Turn the tremolo off. Got the channel pushed pretty hard. A little more tone. You've got good 60s British, good rock and roll sound. Back it off a little bit. You've got your yay, London. If I go back over here to the color channel, there is a foot switchable boost. I'll push this rack away. There we go. So you can cool that EF86 off and get the nice. Very nice. Hit the booster. What do you think?
I think it sounds fantastic.
Oh, das London ist ja sehr gut. We have the sofa.
Thought it was so great, I bought it.
He bought it. This is actually Brett's
What did the
ham.
Norwegian guy think?
What do you think, Norwegian guy in Crete?
There's a lot of Norwegians.
So you guys can hear over here, we have the sofa mic'd up, and these are the Sofa Kings, and they're very cool. Sofa King cool. And this didn't happen on this recording, but there's Brett and Miles and Bob over here, and we put a mic on them because before we had the tube amp problem, we were all in a much more jovial mood. And we had lots of really good vulgar humor going on here, and we thought you'd appreciate it. I know, I'm the only guy in the room.
None of us are Chinese.
Martin Gooseland asks a good question. Any news on the anniversary London? So yeah, next year will be the 10th anniversary of the London.
What? Anniversary?
What?
Why wasn't I told about this?
I forgot about it. So we'll probably try to release it next year. I'm not sure if I will or not.
It'll be different.
I think the only thing that'll be different is I'm just going to make it so, you know, on the London Pro, you can combine the two channels
Oh, I like that.
for gain, and I'll retro yours, don't worry.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah, don't worry. Might have some cute new logo on it, you know, just for the anniversary or something.
That's cool.
When am I coming to Norway? I was supposed to come this fall, but I'm not sure if I can make it or not. Arna's just really, really busy at his store. I love Norway, though. I dig it.
Oslo, Norway.
It's so much fun. Beautiful country, and the people are all really nice. Oh my gosh, let me turn that mic off over there.
Talk about the peanut gallery.
Butchmeister, how do you like mixing the two channels of London with the ABY radio? It sounds great. I highly recommend it. What is that? No one knows what it's like. Sing it, Brett. Be the Sandman. Be the Bandman. Be. That's it. I'm just hearing tones. Oh!
My mind is cascading.
My mind is cascading with rivulets of.
Wait, let me look that
What's the exact quote?
We need to look.
I have it on. I texted it to you.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Yeah. How
Ditto.
many, how many Mel Brooks fans do we have out here? Mel Brooks? Nice. Man, he does that. He writes songs.
No one's
dances.
gonna ruin my ambition cutter.
Yeah, exactly.
He wrote some hits.
Ain't no me ambition cutter.
Yeah. Oh no, this ring of a right. Ruh-roh.
Right guard, no sidewinder, bushwhacker, my
This-
ambition cutter.
All right, wait. Hold on, Mongo. The London being a high voltage amp, is it wise to start collecting tubes before they get really bad or start saving money for the producer? No, the London's not super high voltage. I mean, you'll be fine for a while. Gabby Johnson is right, someone puts.
Glad to
Oh, a hollow body. Good idea, Jeff Daniel. I have a 535 that I'll bring in.
this raging current flooded with rivulets of thought cascading into a waterfall of creative alternatives. Ditto.
Ditto. October 2012 when you got back from Puerto Rico. Yeah, that's still going on. It's just a big, long, slow-moving project. There will be 65 glass at some point. So I'm just farting around on the color. Are you leaving us, Miles?
Yeah, I believe.
Is it because we put the microphone up?
Yeah, it's, you know, I can't be on.
Well, thanks for the effort there. I appreciate
I
it.
can't be on the microphone or on the camera.
Do you want to have a few minutes to yourself here with the crowd?
I'm too
I don't think so.
quiet and shy.
Oh, too reserved.
I'm too reserved.
You know, it would be better if you could feel free to just, you know, like share your opinions with people. You might
Really?
feel a release.
No, I'd rather just stay in the background and be quiet.
All right, Miles, thank you for coming, man. Appreciate it.
His penis gets bigger.
Well, this has sure been an interesting show, guys. I appreciate you sticking around. Bob's gone. Brett, they're kicking me out of here, guys. I don't know what I'm going to do. You know, all I can say about the show today was a serious waste of time, and I'm really glad you guys wasted some time with me, because it's 1 o'clock, and we're all kind of, for lack of a better word, a little bit pissed off and hungry. No Marie Osmond.
Dan Boul.
At least it wasn't a studio failure this
It wasn't a studio failure. It was.
Things ran quite well.
So what you saw, for those of you that were here before, is, you know, making a tube amp is a very tenuous, fragile thing. And from the outside, most people think, well, you just solder some parts together. What's the big deal? But there's a lot more to it, because there's an amazing amount of electricity and things running around in here, and you can't take it lightly. And one of the things we do at 65 to make sure every amp works great is put it through a really rigorous break-in period, and we abuse it really pretty hard before we send it out. So the Empire that I started with, we had not done that. And usually most amps, when they go through our process, come out fine, but about 1 out of 25 won't. And you guys got to see that. So what you really got to see is what it's really like to be in the amp business. So the amount of frustration that you can imagine I went through with that. We go through that quite a bit. And I don't have a proper bench here, so I don't really know what's wrong with it. I can only guess. But so you got to see a little bit behind the curtains there. I don't know if it was interesting to you or not, or it was just funny, or it was just embarrassing, or whatever. But that's what it's like. That's the less glamorous side of being in the tube amp business. And every tube amp maker goes through that on a regular basis. And so when you see us like backstage at a concert or in a cool recording studio or whatever, half the time we're there because the guy's having trouble with his amp. So we're like the guy panicking trying to make stuff work. And it happens. It's the nature of tube amps. If you don't like the nature of tube amps, you really got to start playing trumpet or something. This is what all tube amps do. And we're trying to design all that out, and the producer is really the first step in that. But you got to see. Banjo is pretty good if you want to avoid failures like that, although you have to listen to a lot of... Yeah, can't do that. So anyway, well, thanks for sticking around, guys. I'm sorry it wasn't the most entertaining show at all. But you got to see a little bit of what it's like to be me for a minute. Not always glamorous and fun. So before I go ahead and sign off, are there any questions you want to get off your chest before we sign off and go for deli sandwiches? Yay! Yeah? Anything? Bueller?
Anything at all.
Well, there's such a lag on this week's show, I don't know.
We're completely opening up the forum here.
That's right.
Anything at all.
Anything at all.
We can talk about the
How much to add a master voltage to a London? It's like $250. And I just completely entombed myself in this instrument cable. Who sells 65 in Salt Lake? We used to be at Guitar Czar, Eric Sopanen. And for some reason, Eric kind of got out of doing things like this. But you can order one through there. If you're in Salt Lake City, I would honestly just call Sweetwater. They'll take good care of you.
I have an idea about how we could close up the show.
Oh, yeah. What do you got?
Being that you showed the London today.
Yes.
And Bob has a nice story about what he'd like to share with the London on a
Okay.
Kulik Brothers track. Maybe we could ask him.
I think that's a fantastic idea.
How he felt about what it's, because he found the London to be really inspiring on the riff that he'd come up with and helped, and actually with the tremolo built in, kind of helped really inspire the song, which
I think that's great.
It's going to be on the next Kulik Brothers record. Maybe Bob would step up to
yeah, Bob, are you comfortable talking about that?
He could talk about
I'll tell you, why don't you sit here?
Alrighty,
So
we
the
can do that.
microphone is towards your orifice.
It's like sitting in the chair with Johnny.
That's right.
So yeah, we had this. I had this idea for this piece, and it sort of has like a Zeppelin thing to it, this picking part in the front, which
Right.
is available
Is that
to
the
be
one
seen.
we shared?
Yeah, it's the one that you
okay,
shared. Yeah. So
Which is
we
fantastic.
used the tremolo thing, which had an instantly great sound that. Immediately set the vibe for the rest of the tune. I kept thinking to myself, we're probably going to have to move to another amp for the other parts of the song. And then Brett was able to, change the sound on that amp, on the London. And we wound up doing the whole track just using that amp with 2 or 3 different sounds.
And that's a good point, because we were able to overdrive the thing enough to
Exactly.
We could just intensify it for the chorus, but kind of keep the vibe throughout, but just really hammer on it. And the London does, what was really cool about it is the London really lets you hammer on it without just turning to mush.
Yeah,
the great
that's
thing
what
that-
I want to bring up. Not to interrupt you, I'm sorry.
Sure.
Is that for a lot of my guys may not know that I am in the heart of heavy metal world here. If you look at
This is the heavy metal hub of Van Nuys.
yeah, I mean these guys consider Zeppelin to be a dance band. this is the amps that are on the wall over here are the absolute diamond jubilee of every heavy metal amp made, and the tracks that they cut here are all heavy metal. So for these guys to go into the London is my lowest gain amp. It has a single gain stage on it.
The great thing about that amp as well is that the personality of the guitar is not lost. So I'm playing the Les Paul, and you can hear that it's a Les Paul. It doesn't turn into homogenized a guitar,
Right.
you know. So, but again, I was impressed with the fact that the distortion was such that didn't need the other amps. You know, and it made a great combination of from the clean with the tremolo to all of a sudden amp up, so to speak, into the power sections of the piece. And, you know, everyone that's heard it so far has been like, oh, you must have used a bunch of amps. No, we used one amp for the whole thing.
An
It was
18-watt amp with single gain stage. That's great. I mean, that's really high praise for me.
Well, to see your reaction when you heard it, you know, especially, you know,
Dude, it sounds
the intro thing with the
huge.
tremolo and all of that, utilizing
heard the rest of the
tuned
track.
down thing, you know, it's
really, and this is for the record
Sounds really
you're doing with your brother Bruce, right?
We're compiling material right now with the idea of doing a 5-song EP. So we have 4 or 5 pieces that are, shall we say, in progress.
Yeah.
So actually, we're going to get together with my brother tomorrow, and you know, we're going to sort of move the rock a little further. But you know, hoping to have something done within the next 4 or 5 months.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. Well, that's very flattering. I appreciate it sincerely. It's
Yeah, I can't wait for him to plug into your amp because I think he's going to really feel the same thing I feel. Bruce is an amp maven,
Oh,
you
good.
know, and well, he's more a guitar maven, but you know, when he plugs into something good, you know, he knows
He'll
it.
love the Ventura because he likes
Correct.
small
Yeah.
Oh, really?
amplifiers.
Oh,
Yes.
cool.
He does not like big
A big box.
The gargantuan
loud,
boxes. Yeah.
100-watt, you know,
Yeah.
flamethrowers. And even size-wise, he doesn't like big amps. He says they're heavy
Yeah.
and loud.
Unless you have a roadie, they suck.
Of course, it's like, dude, you played with Kiss for 12 years. You don't like big, loud. Okay.
Well, here's the thing. I can give a
The
perfect.
antithesis of what you would
You know,
think.
it's interesting. There was a period of time when my brother was in the band where they actually used a 1-speaker tiny tune-up Marshall,
Oh, yeah.
mic'd that up, and still had the 20 cabinets and all the heads on stage. And what they're playing through is behind the amp, and it's about this big, literally,
Oh, yeah.
with a mic shoved in it. And that sounded, you know, really good. And everybody thought, wow, it's a wall of
Oh, yeah.
speakers spitting this out. When reality was, it was one 12-inch, you know, Celestion, and that was it.
That's great. There's a bunch of big loud bands that do that, where they just have the facade of cabinets.
Right, the facade of, oh my God, look at those amps.
Yeah, and then you go back
You know.
and there's like a 50-watt and an ISO cab with a
Exactly,
mic on
and
it,
that's it. That's
Yeah.
it. Because
Yeah,
Kiss,
it's crazy.
you know, they don't even use any pedals on stage or anything like that. It's, you know, it's one of the few bands that all of the effects are done from the soundboard. They're not done by the band on stage.
That's right. Someone mentioned Billy Gibbons does that, and that's correct. He's got a rack mount rig going through a 112 with a box and a mic, and he just hears it in the ears. And he has all of his Les Pauls hollowed out because his back is so bad.
Yeah.
He plays with 8s.
Yeah.
And you can hear people talk on stage. There's no stage volume whatsoever. And Dusty is behind
Baffled or something.
plexiglass.
Yeah, right. The plexiglass
You know,
baffles.
so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just quiet. I mean, you guys are
Yeah.
65 years old, you know?
Was
It's
this
like-
the lucky pick?
I don't know. I think this might have been.
You confused them now.
I know. Well, that's very cool, Bob. Well, maybe we can share the clip when you guys have it all polished.
Yeah,
off.
when it's a song, we can go back and revisit. Here's the germ of how it started,
Yeah.
and now here's what it turned into.
And
You
it'd
know?
be cool to lay out the individual tracks for people. Like we can go, here's, we
Well,
put
what's
3
great
guitar
is
tracks.
being that again, we're going through the Ustreams, getting the mix bus feed of the console. We can
Right.
literally break the tune out onto the console.
How many tracks are on it now?
Well, there's drum track.
Well, we actually put drums and bass on now to flesh it out.
and
Oh,
You know,
okay.
so it does resemble a song without a vocal.
Guitar-wise,
Yeah.
Guitar-wise, it's just 4 tracks.
Yeah.
Double track rhythm, 2 mics.
Well, that'd be really cool to share it in progress, like just in the individual tracks, and then
That's
you
what I'm
can
saying.
mix it up. I think
Right.
people would
Yeah, Brett
love
did a
that
great
on the
drum
show.
track. I tossed a scratch guide bass on there.
Which gave another cascading
Rivulet.
rivulets of ideas.
My mind is awash with creative alternative. No, I mean, that's kind of what I've wanted to do on the show for a long time, is be able to take a Pro Tools session and go, look, here, check it out. And here's how we mic'd it here, and here's what we did there. And I think people would really dig that. That's,
Well,
that's
again,
awesome.
and I can't reiterate this enough, the inspirational thing is when it sounds great, how can you not be inspired to play better or have more patience to get the part right or whatever? The better something sounds, the more you're like, wow, this really sounds great. Now let's double it. Wow, listen to that.
Yeah.
So
I'd love to hear it. Yeah, let's do that next week if you don't mind.
That's a cool idea. We could actually break the mixes like that out over the console and actually solo stuff for people.
And there's a way I can share the screen, like when you have Pro Tools up, we can share it on here.
Sure.
You can show people like what you're doing.
That's a great idea.
I think it would also generate a lot of interest in the project too. So.
And at some point, I'll tie Bruce
along.
to the chair you're sitting in, and we'll have him here, and he can discuss his participation as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you,
We'll just have to book him. Thank you, Dan.
That's so cool. Let's go eat.
We're gonna get some baked beans and then come back and tell Blazing Saddles jokes
Exactly.
to the guy in Norway.
So yeah, exactly. Hey, in Norway, this makes no sense at all. If I want to order the Ventura through Redbone, but have you guys just send it to them directly, do I need to let them know or notify you or both? Just let them know. Tell them that you talked to me and I said I'm comfortable drop shipping it to you. So we'll be good there. Fellers?
Drop ship.
Drop ship.
Hopefully nobody gets hurt.
No, that's right. Don't stand underneath it. But anyway, Henson studio thoughts. I was at Henson all weekend long. Let's talk about that next week. Because that's a nice long conversation.
He was saying how it was a toilet compared to this place.
Yeah, they wish they could, poor thing. I mean, ever since Herb Alpert is gone, it's the Tijuana Brass is.
They still have the 2 tracks pushed out into the hallway?
Yeah, everything.
You couldn't grab me one. I asked you. I asked you to bring me one.
I had the wrong car. I had the little car. Yeah.
Next time.
Next time. Now, Henson was amazing. Hey, Hojo, don't worry, you didn't miss anything this week. The show was kind of, other than Bob, who was great. But
at least I'm working at full volume. I didn't have to change any of my tubes even.
I had technical issues. Damn it.
All tweaking was done at home before I showed up today.
I'll have the show archived this afternoon. Look for it in a couple of hours, and we'll be okay.
He's going to have hot pastrami later.
We're going to Weiler's Deli right now.
Come on out.
Yeah, we're going to Weiler's. And
we'll meet you there.
Where are we?
Can have real lunch with
Van Nuys. Yes. And anyway, thanks, guys, so much. I appreciate you being understanding. A little bit of a slapdash show today. Thanks to Bob Kulick and Brad Chasen for having me. Thanks to Miles Rose for attempting to fix an amp. Don't judge Miles on that.
Thanks for the girl for moving out of my spot so I wouldn't have to stress out. Thank you very much.
Bitch.
She was cute.
Oh, well,
She was very cute.
What a sweetheart.
And she didn't know.
God
she just
bless
didn't
her.
know. These are the reserve spots? I didn't know
Why
that.
didn't you invite her in to be on the show?
Because she was getting in the car and leaving right away.
Honey, wait.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I was out there.
Want to be on a show?
Yeah. We have cameras in the back room.
And we have lights and cameras.
Yeah.
We are in Van Nuys, after all, the porn capital of the world.
Yeah. I think in this complex,
There is.
We have a complex about this.
they're filming some skin flicks, right?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
She could have been one of them. Maybe her scene
Maybe
was
she
over.
was
We don't
here
know.
on a contract gig. Anyway.
Or she was delivering the tubes to the other studio. Since they go bad half the time. I learned something today. I
Delivering
didn't know.
tubes, too many jokes, I can't pick.
I have more respect for tubes now than I ever did.
Don't, because tubes suck.
They suck.
This is like the most masochistic line of work anyone could go into.
I had no idea you had. You must have tube nightmares.
I throw away. Yeah, I do. Honestly, I can't tell you how many times I've gotten just furious at tubes. Brand new out of the box.
Do you call the manufacturer? Do you say
Yeah.
something?
You know what they say? Tough shit.
Did it really?
Yeah, it tested fine when it left here. You must have done something.
So,
to
but
it.
you must be able to send back the ones that don't work.
I can do that with one of my distributors.
The other ones no.
I used to buy direct from the manufacturer, and the fallout was 80%. And so you do the math. That means each tube costs 5 times what you pay for it. And so it was like talking to a drug dealer or something like, "Hey man, that weed wasn't very strong." "Oh really? Did you smoke it?" "Well, yeah." "Okay, what do you want me to do?" So you put the tube in the amp, it blows. They go, we tested it at the factory. Yeah, but you test it with no voltage on it, and you test it for 30 seconds. I put it in an amplifier. Yeah, I measured it. It doesn't even meet the requirements. It's just not a 12AX7. And they just kind of go, what are you going to do?
Wow, I never thought about something like that.
It's a numbers game.
It's horrible. But they own the market, and there's no competition.
Well, that's what I was going to say. If somebody is specifically building the tubes that you're using, what do you say?
It's like being in the Soviet Union saying, wow, this bread's kind of stale. Oh, okay. Well, where are you going to go buy? Where else are you going to go buy bread?
They kind of have you over the bread barrel.
That's right. They got you by the short and curly tubies. Yeah. So, anyway, tubes are
That's why tubes are bad.
So when you can see guys like, the guys you have on the wall here who can put out...
Bob got it.
We can call this the Tube Show.
Yeah. There's so many dirty jokes I can't pick. My mind is cascading.
Your mind is cascading.
Stimulated.
He can't wait for the baked beans.
Ritalin. All right, fellas. Thank you again. Thanks to Bob and Brett again.
It's been a real pressure, Dan.
Exactly right. Damn it. All right, fellas. Thank you so much.
Don't worry, I got Paxil for everybody. No problem.
That's right. Oh, I got to stop recording before I get in trouble with the law. Fellas, we'll see you next week. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.